Hi everyone, welcome to RushChem summary videos. In this video, I'm summarizing the lesson intermolecular forces. Okay, so first we'll see what are polar and non-polar bonds. So if you have a diatomic molecule, if it is made from the same type of atom, I say the bond is non-polar, or else the bonds with an equal distribution of valence electrons. When the two atoms are same, the bonding electrons are in the middle, so equal distribution. So then I say the bond is non-polar. So when you take a diatomic molecule where you have two different atoms like HCl, so now the bonding electrons are closer to one atom than the other one, right? So we know chlorine is more electronegative, therefore the bonding electrons are more closer to chlorine. So at that time, the bonding electrons are imbalanced. So that at that time we say the bond is polar. So we have polar bonds and non-polar bonds. So it says greater the electronegativity difference between the two atoms, greater the polarity of the bond. So when you have a polar bond, I can find which bond is more polar than like which one is less polar. So if you have HCl and HF bond, I can say HF bond is more polar than the HCl bond. The reason is fluorine is more electronegative than chlorine. So therefore the difference in electronegativity, so the other atom is hydrogen. So I know the fluorine is more electronegative than chlorine. Therefore the difference in electronegativity is greater for HF bond. So that makes the HF bond more polar than the HCl bond. So all diatomic molecules with different atoms are polar to some extent. So HCl, HF, they are diatomic molecules and they are made from different atoms. So they are polar. If the two atoms are same in a diatomic molecule, that bond is non-polar. So that was about the diatomic molecules. Now we will go to the polyatomic molecules. So which means now your molecule has more than two atoms like carbon dioxide, or you can have water, right? So then at that time, how do we know whether your molecule is polar or non-polar? So when it comes to diatomic molecules, if the bond is non-polar, I can say it's a non-polar molecule. If the bond is polar in diatomic molecules, I can say the molecule is also polar. So in that case, then H2 has a non-polar bond, therefore H2 is a non-polar molecule. And HCl has a polar bond, therefore HCl is a polar molecule. That's straightforward. But when it comes to polyatomic molecules, the shape is also important. Right now we'll take carbon dioxide molecule. So we have learned the shapes before. So this is the CO2 molecule. Right, I didn't do the lone pairs here. Right, now we'll work on the electronegativities. When you take each bond, so I'll first take the carbon-oxygen bond on the left side. So oxygen is more electronegative than carbon. So I can put delta minus for oxygen and delta plus for carbon. So oxygen is more negative, more electronegative than carbon. Take the other bond also. So oxygen is delta minus, right? And the carbon is then delta plus. So now if you look at the two ends, we only look at the ends now. If you look at the two ends, so one end is negative, other end is also negative. So you have the same charges. If you have same charges, I say the molecule is non-polar. So you can see this molecule has polar bonds, right? The CO bond here is polar. Why? It's made from two different types of atom. It is a polar bond, but still, as a whole, the molecule is non-polar because the same charges are on two ends. If you take the molecule given here, so H2CO, right? So now if you assign the electronegativities, so when you take carbon and oxygen bond, oxygen is delta minus and carbon is plus. So when you take carbon and hydrogen, hydrogen is plus relative to carbon. The other hydrogen is also delta plus relative to carbon. Now if you look at the two sides, you can see this side is positive, one side is positive, other side is negative. You don't have to look at the middle atom, so you only look at the surrounding. So one side is positive, other side is negative. So at that time, if you have a charge separation like this, I say the molecule is polar. We'll take one more example, water. So first you draw the water molecule in the correct shape. We learned that water is V-shaped or bent. So it's like this. So now take each bond. When I take oxygen and hydrogen, oxygen is delta minus, hydrogen is delta plus, right? The other one also delta plus. Now if you look at the two ends, top end is negative, the bottom end is positive. So you have two different charges. Therefore, I say water molecule is a polar molecule. So that's how you find whether the polyatomic molecules are polar or non-polar. Okay, the intermolecular forces. The intermolecular forces are the attractions between molecules. There are several types. The first type is dispersion forces. So dispersion forces are the only type of attractions occurring between non-polar molecules. So non-polar molecules can only have dispersion forces and they are the weakest. So what we need to know about dispersion forces, larger molecules have stronger dispersion forces than the smaller molecules. For example, you take two non-polar molecules like hydrocarbons. So if I take CH4 and like CH4 is methane and then I take pentane. So methane only has one carbon whereas pentane has 5 carbon. So the larger one, the pentane, will have more stronger dispersion forces. That's why the melting point of pentane, the melting boiling points of pentane is higher than that of methane, right? So the larger the molecule, stronger the dispersion forces. Therefore, the melting boiling points will be higher. The next point is molecules that form straight chains will have stronger dispersion forces than the branch molecules with a similar number of electrons. Now I take two molecules with the same number of electrons. So which means I can take two hydrocarbons. So one is butane, which is C4H10, right? So these are the hydrogens. And the other one is a branched one, but that one will also have the same number of atoms, which mean the same number of electrons, right? So we know greater the number of electrons, the dispersion forces are stronger. But in this case, the number of electrons are same, but one molecule is branched, right? The pentane, so butane, this one is a straight chain molecule and this one is a branched molecule. So at that time, the unbranched or the straight chain molecule can form stronger dispersion forces than the branched one, right? So from that, then I can compare the boiling or melting points. So straight chain molecules will have then higher boiling points than the branched ones because they make stronger dispersion forces. Okay, now we will look at the dipole-dipole interactions. So dipole-dipole interactions are present in polar molecules. So in addition to the dispersion forces, polar molecules can have either dipole-dipole or hydrogen bonds. So if you take HCl molecule, they have dipole-dipole interactions. So in this, if you can see the diagram here, so you have HCl, two HCl molecules, right? So hydrogen, it's a polar molecule. So chlorine is delta minus, that's delta plus. Here hydrogen is delta plus, that's delta minus. So the positive hydrogen is attracting to negative chlorine from the other molecule. So this attraction here is called the dipole-dipole interaction, which is stronger than the dispersion forces. Okay, the next one is hydrogen bonds. So hydrogen bonds are present in, again, in polar molecules, right? It is a special type. So to have hydrogen bonds, you should have oxygen, nitrogen, and fluorine, and there must be a hydrogen bonded to any of those three atoms. What are those three atoms? Like hydrogen on oxygen, nitrogen, or fluorine. So therefore, if you take a water molecule, water can have hydrogen bonds. So if you see in the diagram here, so oxygen is delta minus and hydrogens are plus. in this water molecule also hydrogens are plus and oxygen is minus. So this hydrogen from one water molecule is attracting to the lone pairs of oxygen from the other water molecule. So that is a hydrogen bonds. So hydrogen bonds are made from these special atoms. So they are, you can see oxygen, nitrogen, fluorine are the most electronegative elements in the periodic table. So therefore, the difference in electronegativity is higher here. So that makes hydrogen bond stronger than the dipole-dipole interactions. Okay, so here I have shown the strength of intermolecular forces. So you have dispersion forces as the lowest, and then dipole-dipole interaction, the strongest is hydrogen bond. So if you look at this table, I have listed the boiling points, right? So we will see why the boiling points are different now. The water has the highest boiling point because it got hydrogen bonds. Not only water, ethanol also got hydrogen bonds, but we know that water can make more hydrogen bonds. That's why the boiling point of water is the highest, right? And then ethanol, because which also has hydrogen bonds. So when you take these two molecules are non-polar. So if they are non-polar, they only have dispersion forces. So dispersion forces are very weak. That's why their boiling points are lower. But when you compare the two boiling points, C2H6 boiling point is greater than the CH4. The reason is C2H6 is bigger than CH4. We learned that bigger the molecule, more electrons, therefore the strength of dispersion forces will be higher. So that's why the boiling point of C2H6 is more than CH4. And you can see H2S has a boiling point of negative 660, which is in the middle now. Right? H2S is a polar molecule which has dipole-dipole interactions. Dipole-dipole interactions are stronger than dispersion forces but weaker than hydrogen bonds. That's why the boiling point of H2S is in the middle. Okay, so that's a summary of this lesson. Now it's time to do questions. You can find questions and summary notes on pages 45 to 55 from Roche Chem 1 and 2 study guide. And thanks for watching my video. If you need any further information, please visit our website www.rochechem.com. Thank you. I will see you in another video.